Not Worth the Time with Wade Taylor. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Not Worth the Time. We're here. We're doing it. It's been another fantastic couple of weeks. Man, I hope you guys have just been putting out some positive vibes into the universe because Lord knows we need them now more than ever. I hope you guys have been personally having a great time, enjoying time with loved ones, just having a ball, getting out and doing something fun for yourself. You know, that's what we all need to do. Just take a little time for ourselves. You know, it's good to also give back now and then and try to help support the community. Maybe get out and volunteer. Volunteering can be fun, guys. It's a good way to connect with people. I didn't know this now, but my niece, I guess it's a requirement in high school that you have to have so many volunteer hours, which I think is a pretty nice thing. That's a really good way to get kids to have credits, to earn credits to graduate. That's an actual positive thing in the community because there's definitely not enough, at least when I was in school, there was not enough programs pushing you to like go out and do that. You know, you had our only push into doing community service was, if you go do this, it looks good on a resume for colleges, you know, and meanwhile, you're going to go apply to a state school who's going to take every third moron like me. Okay, I got a 17 on the fucking ACTs, okay? They were taking me at a state school. There was no way padding the stats on a resume about volunteering was going to help me, you know? You know, you say you go volunteer for something, and then you write a small paper about how that helped change your perspective on the world, which it can if you go volunteer at the right places, not when you're half-stepping like I was, okay? I was completely phoning it in. I went and volunteered at the youth baseball complex in town, you know? Like, I was a baseball player, and I went and shagged balls and threw BP to little kids. Like, I would do that anyway. I have it written down on a piece of paper. You know what I mean? I wasn't really helping the community out, okay? It's not real volunteering what I did, you know? And I wasn't motivated to go do it because I was painfully average as a kid. I just was. You know, I look back at myself as a kid, and I was extremely average. I came from middle-class background, had good grades, sucked at test taking, apparently, according to the ACT. You know you're bad at test taking when you go take the ACT prep class and you learn all the little tips and tricks that they try to tell you. You study hard, you prep for it, actually, and then you do worse the second time. I bombed it I got a 17 my first time, took a prep class, and then fucking got a 16 on the second go-around. That's so bad. I remember looking this up as a kid. You had to, I think, in order to play D1 sports, which I didn't because painfully average, you had to get at just bare minimum of 16. I would have had to be an elite level star player in order to get anywhere with that ACT score if I wanted to go actually play somewhere. Okay, so volunteering and filling out paperwork, being an average student and trying to I'm not an interesting story, right? And that's like those grants or the scholarships, like the little ones you can apply for by writing papers of. I just wasn't impressive enough to ever get those, and I knew that. And it's funny because I knew that, but then my parents were just trying to be supportive, and they also wanted me not to be in financial debt up to my eyeballs. Would push me into applying for those things, and I was like, this is a waste of time. Nobody thinks I'm special. And it's hard to tell your parents that because they think you're special. You're their kid. They love you, you know? They want you to do well. But I'm sitting there telling them, like, guys, you don't understand. They're not going to pick me. They're going to pick Bethany, okay, next door, okay? She's volunteered down at the animal shelter. She knows how to. She's euthanized animals, and as a kind soul, put them out of their misery. That's a compelling story. She wants to be a veterinarian. She's already got 19 euthanasias under her belt. like that's something the guys are gonna be like, God damn, this lady's committed to becoming a vet. She's already murdered 10 cats and 4 puppies. That's dark. That's a dark way to start this. But you get what I'm saying. Like, that they went out and did, like, actual real-world knowledge in, like, we're volunteering at things that they want in fields they wanted to go into. I didn't know what the fuck I wanted to do. Why would and I probably, if it would have been framed that way, would have been better. Would have been better volunteering experience if you're like, hey, go try all these different things. Maybe you'll see or learn something you would like. But then at the same time, okay, I just wanted to play sports and somehow make a few bucks here and there to buy a new skateboard. Boy, howdy, did I have real burnout energy in high school. Listen, man, I'm going to hit dingers, I'm going to kick some flips, and I'm going to go try to hang out with some girls. And I failed at all 3 of those pretty miserably. Let's be honest. I was okay at baseball, half-dashed it through baseball. Thought I was an okay skateboarder, and then you watch any skateboard film and you realize you suck. And then girls, guys, you think I'm weird just from listening to this podcast? You should have seen 16-year-old me when my voice cracked more often than it does now. I was not a impressive kid. But look at me, pushing through things. Things are going well, you know. But volunteering is important. That's all I'm trying to say. I recently did do that. Here's the other thing that's funny about volunteering to me. It's never what you think it is. You got to go, if you do volunteer, you have to go into it with the lowest of expectations, okay? You're not going to get to do the glory work at wherever you're volunteering. Like, I went and volunteered at an animal shelter recently, which you think is going to be fun, right? Your first thought when going to a animal shelter to help do things is, I'm going to go in there, maybe I'll take some dogs on a walk, I'll feed the cats, or, I'll do some of the work like that, taking care of animals. That's your first idea of what volunteering at an animal shelter is going to be, right? But then you scale it back. Like, they have full-time employees. That's their job. You probably have to be certified to take care of, like, shelter animals because some of them have been abused. Most of them, let's be honest, have been abused. I'm trying to think of other situations. Like, some might have, like, amputees. Like, they might need special needs animals, and then all this other stuff, right? Like, so there's, like, actual trained professionals. They've gone through courses. They're probably ex-vets or current vets. There's all those paid staff members who actually interact with the animals. Fine. So what's your next? Maybe you got to clean kennels. You know what? I'm totally cool with that. I get that these people they're dealing with the animals every day. Whatever. They might want us to just kind of clean up the kennels, try to get them nice and clean. Maybe wash some dog bowls. Wash some dishes. Well, you don't want your cats and dogs drinking out of gross bowls that other ones have been. That's how they get kennel cough spreading around the whole place, okay? You got to disinfect stuff, right? That's where you're second. And then from there, you think, maybe I'll go to a fair and help hand out stuff and spread awareness that this is available and people can come adopt it. That kind of stuff. That's the third one. I went and did something I didn't think would ever be a thing I would do, which was organize a storage room. Oh, man, talk about just the bottom of the barrel of doing work, That's what you realize what volunteering at any thing is. And it's important. It is important to volunteer. I'm not shitting on volunteering. I'm just saying prep yourself for the fact you're going to do shit around their office that they don't want to do. That's what you are for the day. You're you're lower than an intern, okay? The intern doesn't even want to do that. They walk up to the interns before you show up to volunteer and go, what's the one thing you don't fucking want to do around here? And they're like, I don't want to go organize the fucking back storage room with all of our event shit in it. And they're like, good, we got 9 people coming in that we'll just make them do it. And you know what? Fine, okay? That's fair enough. You use us in our volunteer time to do that. But you know what? Now I get to walk around with volunteer valor, okay, and be like, I help save the animals. That's a fair trade. If I'm doing grunt work in the ditches, if I'm in the foxhole doing shit that you don't want to do, I get to steal volunteer valor, and that's fine. Organizing a storage room, just fucking trying to sort dog toys. And what's weird is, this is the only thing that bothers me, right, about how they were like. They came back and they were like, yeah, if you can just like they were telling us how they wanted it organized. And I'm just like, well, this doesn't, I don't know if anybody ever organizes their home or does that, but you ever go to anybody else's place and try to help them organize, and then they tell you how to organize, and it's like, dude, if you want your own system, just do this yourself. Like, to have a bunch of volunteers like us, right? Now, granted, we started labeling stuff, but it seems insane to me that you want a bunch of people who don't work there full time to put shit away, and then your guys are going to somehow magically go back there and somehow find it. Like, you didn't have one supervisor back there to be like, okay, I'm making notes of where, and kind of like get the lay of the land and know where we put certain things and how we did organize it. Because people, we could have done it all by color, like this is all organized by color, but you wanted it by seasonals. You needed spring, summer, fall, winter, and we were just like red, green, yellow, blue, brown. And that's how this whole thing's organized. I hope you have a good time finding that. Yeah, we got the Halloween decorations mixed in with the Thanksgiving. You're never going to find anything anymore. It just seems like a weird thing to do to me, which tells me, as I left that place, organizing, which we did work, put in some fucking work. We got it organized, okay? Look good, look cleaned up. You could walk, okay? We all agreed that if you could successfully just have a pathway to walk around that storage room when we left, it was a success, okay? You ever been in a little kid's room when they've just thrown all their toys everywhere? That's what it was like, except it was dog toys and Tito's vodka merch everywhere, because apparently Tito's loves sponsoring animal shelters, which good on you, Tito's. I didn't know you were like that. You're trying to get these puppies adopted, and we appreciate it. This is the one free plug I'll ever give to a vodka company, because I hate vodka. But Tito's, you're all right, because you support dogs. And we made sure there was a pathway, okay? But when I left, I was pretty goddamn sure. I was like, yeah, that place is going to be a wreck after one corporate event they do. Because what happens? It's a cycle, guys. This is the cycle, okay? We come in. We organize it, right? Then they have one of their little corporate events where they're going to go set up a booth, try to get some puppies and kittens adopted. Oh, what? Puppies and kittens too small for you? We also got fucking rescue horses. You want to rescue a horse? We got it, okay? You want a big-ass dog with hooves? We got you a horse, dude. They do. They have horses at this animal shelter, so you can go get horses too. Okay, don't forget about the barnyard animals, dude. You can adopt them too. But somebody goes out there and they're trying to hustle, get these dogs, cats, and horses adopted. And then, that's at the end of the day, you've been outside underneath a fucking tent in 90-degree heat trying to get these animals adopted, you've been watering the dogs, but your dogs are barking now because you've been on your feet all day. And the last thing you want to do is kind of, organize the totes right and like put everything back in the tote you found it. No, they just fucking on the table. They put one at the end and just fucking clear that bitch right into a goddamn big ass tote, slap a lid on it, and now you don't know what's in there. It's a hodgepodge. And then they just, they don't go put it back on the shelf. They just chuck it on the ground because they're volunteers. They don't have to deal with it. And then the whole cycle starts over again. Then then the other volunteers got to come in and organize it again, and it's just a cycle. What I'm saying is, volunteers, just remember, your efforts have trickle-down effects. You are downstream from other volunteers being successful in helping volunteer. You have a downstream effect of volunteering, okay? That's the whole point of volunteering, right? It's just your little commitment to time and executing will make a little bit of a difference, okay? So remember, when you half-ass it at the end of your volunteering, you're affecting the downstream of another volunteer. Oh, it's so funny that I sound like a manager of a Fortune 500 company talking about how, like, if you're cutting corners at this company, but you're doing it with volunteer-free labor, you're affecting the bottom dollar to create shareholder value. Hey, nobody likes creating shareholder value, but we all could agree that getting more dogs and cats adopted is a good thing. So take the extra time and put the shit back in the totes. Am I having an OCD outbreak right now thinking about somebody fucking up all the work I did organizing something? You're goddamn right I am. I'm fucking freaking out over here. I never realized this, but I have an iPhone 16, and when you turn the camera sideways like I'd film this on, it looks like a gas mask is what the camera is. It looks like I have a World War II gas mask person staring a hole at me. This podcast sucks. ADD brain. What are you going to do, right? What are you going to do? Hey, but go out, volunteer, do something in your community, help out people. That's where you can make true change, guys, is with your time and things you truly care about. Go out and volunteer. That's my little soapbox for the day. Have fun and do something. Just get involved with whatever you love and try to just do a little thing to help make somebody's day better. Those little things compound over time. Like I said, it's downstream effect. You see, your good deeds are downstream. I just tell myself that so I continue to actually be a good person. Because sometimes I feel like I'm not heading that way, guys. Sometimes I have some dark thoughts, okay? I don't really think I'm that good of a person. And for a guy who just was going to volunteer, who did volunteer at an animal shelter, I had some dark thoughts the other day on a golf course, okay? Because fucking geese, I'm standing on the tee box and they're waddling by, right? And they have babies, which is fine, so I back off. I walk over the street, kind of get away, because I don't want them coming at me. But, like, the fucking male goose kept fucking trying to step at me, dude, and was, like, hissing. And I'm far away, but he's hissing at me, and he's like, dude, and I was just, like, fantasizing. I was like, I wish a motherfucker would. I wish this goose would come over here, and I'd take this 9-iron. Fucking charge me, goose. You're getting a fucking 9-iron. Your kids are going to be fatherless. But you know why? I don't care, because fucking geese suck, okay? Fuck geese, okay? I don't like birds in general, okay? Even though they're the closest thing to dinosaurs. Love dinosaurs, hate birds. I got beef with birds, okay? Especially fucking geese, dude. They're mean. They're fucking territorial as hell. Fuck them. I can't stand those goddamn things. And I'll tell you what else. It's wild. I looked this up one time. They nest, right? And that's when they become very territorial. As soon as they fucking create a nest is what it is. And I used to donate plasma all the time. That's why I got these cool-ass track marks, dude. And went in to go donate. And there was a goose and its mate nesting right by the front door. So as soon as you walk in, this goose would come out and fucking charge you. And I walked inside and got in there, and I was like, hey, you guys got a super aggressive goose out here. Like, it's going to attack somebody. And they're like, yeah, we're aware of the situation. We're going to take care of it. Unfortunately, once they nest, we can't really do anything. We have to call the specialists in to get them out. And apparently there's only one registered relocation expert in all of Iowa. There's a guy who has a monopoly on geese relocation in this great state. One guy. See, this is why we got to push trade schools, okay? This is why, like, the high school kids like my niece need to volunteer, and maybe they'll learn that, like, oh, maybe geese relocation is a career path for me. I don't know if I'd want to do it. I actually, I think I would. I can finally take my frustration out on those motherfucking things. But there's one guy. You have to be a trained expert in order to relocate geese. Isn't that wild? It doesn't seem like it'd be that hard. You just, I don't know, feed them. you just put some fucking sleeping pills and some fucking Wonder Bread, toss it at them, let them fucking gulp it down. Then they're passed out, and then you just they wake up next to a fucking pond somewhere on top of their eggs. They teleport. They just nightcrawler their way, and just are at a fucking different pond, not in front of a busy business of people who are, coming at you. That's the thing that's crazy, is they nested in front of a place and were being aggressive to people who desperately need money. I don't know if you've ever been to a plasma clinic, but everybody there isn't really there because, I just need a few extra bucks and I'm trying to donate this for life-saving. No, you're going there because I need $75 this weekend for booze. That's where I was going. There's one guy, and he's going around the entire state of Iowa just relocating geese constantly. That's a pretty sick gig, because I guarantee it happens all the time. There's so many of them. He's the one guy who's lobbied for geese to be on the endangered birds list, back in the 2000s, okay? That's why there's so many of them now. You ever wonder why, how come when I was a kid I didn't see so many of these things, and now all of a sudden there's too goddamn many Canada geese? Well, it's because they put them on the endangered list, and they wouldn't let you hunt them anymore. And now they've become severely overpopulated, just like the snow geese. So that guy probably lobbied for that, and now he's rolling in buku bucks because he manufactured a crisis of needing to move geese from place to place. He created a problem, and now he's just buku bucks, banking off of it. I wish I would have thought of that. I wish I was that evil. It's probably not even that nefarious, but that's the problem with trying to be a good person. Is I'm a good person. I feel like sometimes, but I have bad person thoughts. I just stop myself from doing the bad person. I'm 2 degrees away. I'm 2 or 3 decisions in my early formative years of life that I could have become a criminal or a shyster of some kind. I could have been a scammer, okay? I could have been scamming people somehow, because I have those thoughts all the time about how I want to scam things, Perfect example is when I went to Target this past week, right? Went to Target, bought all my stuff, started walking out, got home, put away all the shit, realized I left a whole bag of shit there. I left 5 things at the register, and I was like, damn it. So I got to hop in my car and drive all the way back. Luckily, the cashier who is working and checking me out was still there. That's right. I went to an actual cashier, real cashier. That's probably the only reason this might work, okay? Because, had I done it myself, this probably wouldn't have worked. But I walked up and said, hey, you checked me out earlier. I accidentally left a bag. And she knew exactly what items. She's like, the cheese and the whatever and this. I forget what else it was. And she was like, yeah. I was like, yes, I did. She's like, okay, that's fine. I don't have it over here, but if you go to customer service and talk to them, they'll take care of you. And I'm like, okay, perfect. So I go over, talk to customer service. So, man, now keep track of me. This is the second person I've talked to. I talked to the cashier I originally talked to, and then I went and talked to a customer service person. And he just goes, oh, well, that's fine. Just go grab the items you need and just come back here to the customer service, and I'll take care of it. Perfect. So I walk up, bring all my stuff, and then different lady at customer service, third person I've interacted with. And I was like, yeah, the gentleman told me to just go grab the stuff I needed and bring them back, and they take care of it. And she's like, oh, did you, what happened? I was like, oh, I left my stuff at the checkout when I came in there. She's like, oh, and she just whipped out a bag, put it in. She said, here you go, you're good to go. Didn't look at the receipt, didn't make sure I purchased it, didn't make sure it even happened that day. Just walked out. Guys, you could easily do this at Target, I feel like, all the time. You just need a receipt. And you know what? When I walked out front, for some reason, it just happened to be littered with receipts. I'm pretty sure you could just walk out in front of Target, pick up any receipt, and if there's something cool on there that you might like, I might like that item, just go inside and be like, hey, I accidentally left it at this register. Yeah, this is what went through my thought. That's a bad person thought. That's a scam. That's stealing. And I stop myself from doing those kinds of things. But I think about them all the time. I'm like, I could totally get away with this. I think I can get away with it. But I know I can't because I'm a terrible liar. I'm a horrible liar. It's like I tried to act. The only reason I got the stuff that I did really leave is because I really left it. And I knew it really happened. So I'm like, okay, yeah, no, I just want to get the stuff I bought. I don't think I could fake my way through getting another item that I didn't really purchase. I can't do it, dude. It's like what it is the guilt eats me up. The guilt eats me up. But, it is what it is. I'm glad that I stopped myself from doing that. But man, do I have those thoughts. I should just be one of those weirdos and just post in that, like, I'm sure there's a r/scam on Reddit and just post, like, here's an idea I had if anybody wants to try it. But I'll have to word it like, I don't advise you to try this. By the way, I don't advise you to steal from Target. You shouldn't steal. You should buy the things that you got, okay? If you want something, purchase it like a good Samaritan, okay? I stole booze once in college and then went back in and paid for it. I didn't really steal it. What happened is she forgot to scan it. I bought a fifth of whiskey once, right? Walked outside and I was like, that was really cheap for what I normally pay when I come buy booze here. And then I looked at her, and she didn't charge me. I walked back inside and said, hey, you didn't charge me for this. And she was so goddamn thankful that I came back in because she knew she would have gotten in trouble because there would have been an offage in her receipt. And it's like a I guess it wasn't a fifth. It was like it was a $40 bottle of whiskey, whatever I bought. And she was so thankful, like, oh, thank God. Yeah, I'm so glad you did that. I'd have been, because her whole drawer would have been off. She's like some high schooler who's working in the liquor department. They don't want to get in trouble. I don't want people to lose their jobs because I needed a free item. That just sucks, And I think I feel that way because I worked as a retail cashier at an Office Max, dude. And now this stuff gets stolen. Does stuff happen? Yeah, but they don't blame you for that. You really don't get in that much trouble. But that's because I knew my managers were cool, and they were just like, they knew shit happened. I don't know if a Hy-Vee manager in Ames, Iowa knows that it's not that big of a deal. They might be a complete hard ass, and they got like a no tolerance for fuck-ups like that. And then somebody loses their job, and that sucks. I don't want anybody to lose their job. I want people to thrive. I want people to be able to work enough, and then they can go volunteer like we were talking about earlier. I want you to work well enough that you can go work for free, and you feel fine doing it. Where you don't have to worry about fun. Yeah, no article this week, guys, because you know why? I yammered for way too long, and that's fine. But you know where you can go watch me read other articles that I found before? punninggame.com. That's right, punninggame.com, guys, where you can find this show, Not Worth the Time. You can find Who Gives a F with my older brother Nathan and I, which we put out weekly. You can find the Punning Game merch. That's right, the Punning Game merch. You go to the Punning Game shop, you can find t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, stickers, all sorts of cool stuff to represent your favorite shows here at punninggame.com. And don't forget to use the promo code NWTPOD. That's MWT Pod. And that gets you free shipping at checkout, guys. Isn't that fancy? And if you want to watch this version, the video version of this show, you want to go to youtube.com and search Comic Wade Taylor. You go to Comic Wade Taylor, you hit subscribe, you can hit like, you can comment, do whatever you want to interact. Welcome to all the new subscribers. A bunch of new people coming to the channel now. Really appreciate it. A lot of people come to the channel for a bunch of different things. This show, Who Gives a F, stand-up clips, sketch comedy clips. We've got all sorts of cool stuff at Comic Wade Taylor on YouTube. So go and check all of that out, guys. If you're looking for any of the links, they're all in the description down below. Guys, this has been Not Worth the Time. I'm Wade Taylor. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. And remember, don't do anything I wouldn't do.